And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Life from the Inside Out with Kris. And in the last episode, we really dug deep into some of the aspects of the fulfillment mindset and even some of the more shadowy aspects of the pandemic and its relation to fulfillment as well as the process of growth, kind of both on a individual and group level. And I think Kris, at least at the end of the episode, was hoping to build on that and is back with us for this time.
Indeed, and we thank you for your consideration.
Thank you as well.
And to pursue the last discussion, it is important to understand that you as a species are never bereft of any tools, skills, or resources to resolve your own dilemmas. In fact, seeking a savior of any form or kind to resolve your dilemmas only increases your sense of disempowerment. If you understand the premise that you are already equipped with an actually incredibly powerful tool, a technology of consciousness, of immense powers and abilities, you would never again think that you are unworthy of a better life, ever. In fact, it would spring naturally, almost effervescently, from the nature of your being. It does so regardless, but your perceptions prevent you from seeing just how potent, delightful, and beautiful creatures that you are. So your perceptions cloud your abilities and your knowledge of those abilities. So you have a blind eye to this, and sometimes two blind eyes, sometimes three blind eyes. Your innate drive towards fulfillment is not continuously being harassed, hassled, or impeded, except by the perceptions that you hold. A perception is very, very interesting, because what it comes down to is not just an interpretation, but it is a particular state of mind that you utilize to literally block your own mental abilities to help you resolve. You perceive yourself as powerless, ineffective, a victim. And anything that would try to convince you otherwise would be pushed aside. We are telling you quite strongly that all it requires is to snap out of the one or several mindsets that you presently utilize and adopt your natural stance as embracing your authentic nature as being the designer, the architect, the builder, the creator of your experience. Not of reality, but your experience. Because if it comes down to the brass tacks, reality as you think it exists does not exist. Your experiences, however, are your reality. There's a very, very big difference. Wherever you are, there you are. That is your experience. Whatever neighborhood, home, work environment, vacation place, regardless of where you are, that is your experience. And that becomes your reality. There's a very big distinction. If you understand that as one of the innate qualities that you have to design, create, construct, build, and so on, your reality, you are already halfway there. The other part, as we suggested earlier, fulfillment mindset. This is a natural, innate drive. It is the energy behind everything you do. You seek fulfillment. And if you see that and flip your own mind or shift, doing a little mind shift in that area, you may recognize that you have the abilities to transform your experience because your experience is your reality. So the moment you stop blaming external circumstances, conditions, and events of any kind as the source of your problem, and instead recognize that the difficulty is in your state of perception, and literally shift your mind towards your innate, natural fulfillment mindset, then it is no longer external conditions, circumstances, or events that are out to get you or to impede you, but instead the perceptions that you held previously, which you can change. You may refer to it as beliefs. You may refer to it as convictions. There are many, many other names that you can give it. But the main point is how you approach life is the determining factor. So earlier on, you mentioned how you had viewed some parts of your life. That is an approach to life. That is a mindset. You began to switch it. You began to change it. You made internal changes which were reflected outwardly. And as we discussed yesterday evening in the group environment, part of the reasons you do not enjoy the synchronistic values of life, the intuitive connections, is indeed because you do not approve of yourself. Therefore, you do not trust yourself. Therefore, why would you trust such a thing as intuitions? Because they naturally bubble up from your inner being. So once you begin to change that, to shift that, then you begin to see the synchronicities of all aspects of life. And we will use it only in this instance because we are not prone to talking about the great oneness of life. We prefer to let others do that for our own purposes, to see the connections of all the intricacies, of all the beauty, in all the miracles of life, even in your own body. Begins a journey where it would be very difficult to come back from in a good way. If you are accustomed to living in extreme poverty and you, for whatever reasons, however it is done, you suddenly, or not so suddenly, are a millionaire or a multimillionaire or a billionaire, you will not work your level best to go back to your previous life. It will no longer be what you want. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In the same way, once you begin to experience the richness of self-fulfillment, you will do your level best to never return to a state where you do not feel or nor experience the connection of all life, the flow of that miraculous intention that is your own being. In that, you can begin to appreciate more and more as you recognize that your authentic self, that part of you that you may have slowly divested yourself of piece by piece in order to meet the expectations and the love of others, because you did not know, nor were you shown how to love and appreciate yourself. You will begin to pick up these pieces. You will begin to heal. And that healing removes the trauma. And you will no longer just survive, nor just live. You will thrive. And that is a very, very big and very different state than any previous state you might recognize. The idea then is to explore this to such a degree that you forget any desires for anything else, that you continue to thrive. And the experiences that follow that state of mind, that mindset, naturally fulfill your desires. And we should also state here, your desires are not specifically related to having the latest, greatest, biggest technologies and devices that are sold to you as necessary for your existence. It is your experience. You want to experience the kind of fulfillment that gives you the freedom to be less attached to previous poverty-driven mindsets. So you become emotionally, psychologically richer in every sense of the word. That state of fulfillment then brings you what you need in your life. So it is no longer a question of running after all the things that you want, that you think will make you happy, but rather to be happy in such a way that all the things you need come into your life. This is day and night. And most of the world functions on the premise that I want these things because I think this will make me happy. We have mentioned this before, just like all these people in the 80s and 90s who bought treadmills and all sorts of exercise machines advertised on television, as seen on TV. This will make you pretty. This will make you happy. What happened to all these devices? Usually, statistically, it has been shown that within a few weeks, whether you have spent $50 or $5,000, these items end up underneath the bed in a closet somewhere, never to see the light of day again. Because it did not bring you the happiness you thought or were promised. Therefore, you went to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. How many people have wasted thousands and thousands of dollars chasing after a few little trinkets that they thought would make them happy? It might have done so momentarily, a fleeting happiness. We are not saying that desiring to be happy is a bad thing, but know exactly what it is that is going on within you. It requires self-inquiry, a little bit of introspection without censorship. Oh, I can't possibly think like that. Yes, that is what you need to look at. Oh, I was told never to. Nope, that. Especially if you were told, don't think like that, don't be like that, be something else, think something else. Those are likely the areas that you buried, you cut off of your own authentic self. Those are the ones that you most likely need to re-examine, re-evaluate, and heal. If that also makes sense to you.
Yeah, I'm following you. And it makes me think of, don't question the consumerist economy and ask yourself the question, where does your happiness come from?
Indeed, it will not come in a box of Cracker Jacks. Though you may think it will, and it may be making you happy as a child for 5 minutes, and then you want the next thing and the next thing. Consumerism, as you know and understand it, thrives on that premise that your happiness is in the next big thing we will pitch your way. Just wait, it is coming.
And here's a question. Can we then, using the example of the Cracker Jacks, can we get into a state of joy or a state of happiness and then bring that state to experiencing the box of Cracker Jacks? Is that a different thing? Do you see what I'm saying?
Rephrase it.
Rather than thinking that our joy comes from eating the Cracker Jacks or having that experience with that particular object, can we then first get into that state of mind and then bring that to the process of eating the Cracker Jacks? And would that be a different way to look at it?
Once you recognize that you can be happy without any specific circumstances or conditions or events, then of course, a box of Cracker Jack fits into the patchwork of your reality. And it is a non-issue because you know the box of Cracker Jack itself is not the source of your happiness. You are the source of that happiness. And the Cracker Jacks are enjoyable to eat, including the little prize in the box.
Yep.
So it is a different kind of mindset or approach to life. That is what a mindset is, an approach to life. And it isn't a black and white thing. It is in many shades and colors. It is a whole spectrum, but it is based primarily on your innate nature. So you can have all the Cracker Jacks you want. Just recognize that the happiness is a state that belongs to you. And it is not something someone else can give you. It is yours. It is literally your magic.
Right. And if we know the source of the state, we're not dependent upon the Cracker Jacks to get into it.
Indeed. That is the whole purpose of this discussion, to know that everything else is an extension of your state of happiness. Your happiness does not depend on those things. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I follow. Hmm.
Now, is it time for the break?
Yeah, I think we've arrived. What an episode. Thank you, Kris.
Indeed, then. We thank you for your consideration, Cracker Jacks and all.
All right. Thanks so much.